Hey there, everyone. This is your host, Mae Renfroe, and welcome to this week's Thoughtful Thursday. I have my guest today, Micheal Steiner, and yeah, I've been able to talk with her and kind of what she's walked through in life with learning challenges, or was told she did, but how she's, um, just made the most of it and conquered that. And she's going to share that with us and unpack that her journey and what she's doing now in that through that helping others. So, Michelle, a big warm welcome to you. And yeah, could you go ahead and introduce yourself and take us into some background for us?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, my name is Micheal Steiner. I live in Pennsylvania with my husband Ron and our two cats, Jack and Sparrow. I work in a school as a paraeducator for students who have disabilities and some who don't. They just need that little bit of extra help. And I also have a blog called Michelle's Mission where I write about life with having a learning disability. I use a lot of nature metaphors. And I also feature my photography about that I get to take on my walks because I'm not able to drive. And as I said, I have a learning disability. I have dyscalculia, which is a math based learning disability where it's hard for me to be able to understand how numbers work. I
Oh,
have limited hand dexterity in both of my hands, and I have visual perception issues, but that's in my brain, not in my eyes.
oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, so that was quite a challenge for you in your early school years. Understand?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes, definitely. I was diagnosed whenever I was in kindergarten. My teacher noticed that I was really struggling in the classroom. I was struggling with counting, tying my shoes. Math was the biggest thing, though. We definitely knew I was not going to be a mathematician whenever I was really young. And I also struggled socially because I was an only child. So my parents, the teacher recommended to my parents that I get tested for having a learning disability. And sure enough, I had one, and during that time period, it was just more of an umbrella term. We didn't
mhm,
necessarily we knew about dyslexia, but we didn't know what dyscalculia was. I never heard that name until I was an
mhm.
adult, and we didn't even find out about the limited hand dexterity until I was an adult as well. But they knew I wasn't going to be a math a prodigy or anything like that. But I was really blessed to have some great parents that never
Mhm.
gave up on me and just
Yeah,
really helped me to
yeah,
advocate for myself.
yeah. It sounds like wow. Yeah, I hadn't heard of those names, like those
Hmm.
disabilities that you just mentioned either. Um, wow. So that was new for them, obviously. They had to kind of start well studying into it and then seeing how they could best help
Right.
you to be able to prosper and learn all that you needed to do. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
So
definitely.
you
They always, yeah, they were always great with that too. Just being
yeah.
there to be able to help me out with all that. It was, yeah, it was wonderful.
Oh, wow. So you could kinda share a bit of that journey and just yeah, take
Sure,
us
I'd
through
be
that
happy
and
to.
yeah.
Yeah, my parents were great. With God was always a presence in our lives. I grew up Catholic, and we would go to church, and I had that experience. And they were also really open to a lot of different denominations as well. And I went
Mhm,
to a vacation Bible school where I accepted Christ, but I was still Catholic. We didn't go back to that church whenever I was young. But I can just see
mhm,
how God has led a lot through having a disability and my parents to Him. When I was young, we spent a lot of tearful homework sessions whenever I was really, really
mhm,
little, just working on some of those skills. And that was hard because my parents sometimes knew I wasn't going to do well on a test or I wasn't going to do well in a class, but they still made me go to school. They still had me try. And eventually, the school and my parents worked together, and I was able to be in more regular ed classes. I was in regular ed for science, social studies, and reading. And by the time I got to high school, school got a lot easier for me academically. I can just remember I was in all regular ed classes except for math and resource. But
mhm.
socially, it got a lot harder. When I was a young child, I
Mm,
was just bullied. It started pretty early, but it was more like, "Oh, you're not
mhm.
my friend," or you're not
Aw,
invited to my birthday party." But when I got to high school, the groups became more defined, and I just felt like I didn't fit in with any group.
yeah.
And I can just remember that, and that's also how God led me to Him, a more a deeper relationship
Mhm.
because there was a faith-based art group that was just right outside of my school district, and I found other kids that were interested in the same thing that I was interested in,
Mhm.
and it was also faith-based. So I got to see God as
Oh,
more of a
wow.
relationship than
Yeah.
just right for what I experienced prior to that. So that was just kind of leading me to him and leading that towards that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I can
wow.
just he's really helped me through a lot of that too, and gave me a great set of parents with that. I can just remember too, though, I knew that I wanted to go on to college. And, but I was afraid because I knew with my disability it was going to be hard. And I also knew that there was going to be some challenges, especially with math. That was always my biggest challenge. And I wasn't alone in that fear. I had a learning support teacher who didn't think I could handle it because of my math disability. And she suggested that I do uh, a training school, and I just didn't find
Mhm.
anything that interested me. If they would have had an early childhood program, okay, I might have decided to do
Mhm.
that before college, but
Mhm.
they didn't
Mhm.
have anything that interested me. And I decided to go forward to college. And during that journey, I have definitely um, it was still really difficult. I had to get tested for a learning disability all over again. I had a
Oh.
learning support team. Well, no, I had a psychiatrist who told me, I don't think you're going to go beyond community college because my test scores were so low. And I was just really defeated even before I got there. And once I got there, there was even more stigma. There were people who thought that disability accommodations were cheating. I had a professor
Oh.
that told me, yeah, that we're
Mhm.
going to have limited job choices. And I can remember I was even doing my internship, and I had a teacher I was working with said, well, you may not find someone that wants to marry you with having your disability. So
Oh,
it was a real struggle for me. And
that's
eventually
sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used the accommodations and I was able to
Mhm.
graduate with my associate's degree. And I moved out on my own. I started attending a church that wasn't
Mhm.
Catholic. I
Mhm.
also was loving my independence. I had some temp jobs. I can't drive because of my disability. So I was loving to have that independence, to be able to go places, but I always wanted more for myself. And I really struggled sometimes with what my purpose was. I can remember hearing all about God's good plan and
Mhm.
purpose, but a lot of other people in my family were getting married, and they were just everything was coming together for them with jobs. And I just thought, well, where is my plan? Where is my purpose?
Mhm.
And eventually God did reveal that to me. And through a very unlikely way, I had to move back in with my parents for financial reasons. And that was really hard because I'm like, oh, where is this plan going, Lord?
Yeah, yeah.
And I get back in with my
Mhm.
parents, and I thought my job's downsizing. This is the perfect time to go back to university. I found the right program with the least amount of math and science possible. It had a
Mm.
course that really interested me, and I thought, and had disability accommodations. And I thought this is the time to give it a try. And they also had a ride. My mom went to church, and there was a relative, and
Mhm.
she was telling at the event my relative about that all I was going back to school, and she said, "Oh, I work on campus. I can take her."
Oh,
So
wow.
I was able
That's
to
that
have a
neat.
ride, yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go. And this time it worked out so much better because whenever I was at school, I used all the disability accommodations. I had a note taker, I had extended test time, and I advocated for myself. And it worked out so much better for me. My grades improved. I made Dean's List for a semester. There was always that static about people saying that disability accommodations were cheating or tried to get
Mhm.
me to compete for better grades with other people. And I just had to learn to silence a lot of those things and just
Yeah.
focus in on my grades. And I graduated with a bachelor's degree despite being told I couldn't do it.
Oh,
During that
wow.
time, I also met my husband
Yeah.
during that time, and that was another prayer that got answered because I was in a lot of broken relationships, and I just thought, oh God, just don't send me somebody until it's the right person. And sure enough, he did, and I met him totally unexpectedly, so it was just such a blessing. And I can remember, yeah, just the meeting him, and during that, and it took a while for us to get married. It took a while for me to find a job too. I had some other jobs that said they were disability friendly and really weren't. And
Mhm.
I've been at my job at the school district for over 13 years now, and I love working with the
Oh, wow.
kids and
Yeah.
everybody. And I also, it took me a while to get that courage to write about having a disability. Writing has always been healing for me, but I had a
Mhm.
friend that told me, you should really write about having a learning disability. I thought, oh no, I'm just going to write some bad poetry and some other things. And when I finally, when we got the courage to write, is when we moved into our house. And the house that we're at, I'm unable to unlock the door because I have limited hand dexterity.
Mhm.
And there was a
Mhm.
prompt on the Mighty, write about a seemingly easy task for other people, but it's really hard for you. And I wrote about unlocking a door, and it got published, and that just led to uh, me wanting to write more articles because I got such a good response. And I started a blog called Micheal's Mission, where I write about that, and I feature my photography for my walks.
Okay. Oh, wow. Photography from your walks. So you said,
Yes,
okay,
I
okay,
take
because you're
pictures of
going from walks
flowers
and
because
yeah. Oh,
I
okay.
get that
Oh, neat.
chance to be able to notice details that other people will miss. A lot of times,
Yeah,
people will be in the car. I'll be in the car with my husband, and I'll say, "Oh, did you see that?" He'll be like, "No, I'm focused on the road as he should be." But I get to see a
yeah,
flower. I get to see something really
yeah,
neat. And
yeah,
literally, when I'm on my walks, I get to go and walk, stop and smell the roses, and I get that
yeah,
chance to take a picture of a flower. And rather than being sad, I'm just so thankful because otherwise I would miss the picture of that flower. I'd miss that shot if I was driving.
yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, that's neat. And I just really like how what you shared and how you just really stuck to it and
Hmm.
made the most of what people said you couldn't do.
Right,
It's really unfortunate that people feel like they need to tell somebody that. Like, why do they need to do
right.
that?
Hmm.
It's really sad, but that happens. And then I noticed earlier you said something about, well, some of those like setbacks kind of drew you closer to God, and it
Yes.
isn't that neat in a way how some of the things that can seem like a negative thing, and maybe they are, but anything that's going to bring us closer to Jesus is, you can't lose that way, right? It's it's a wonderful thing that we really rely on him more because we just can't do it on our own.
Exactly. Everything that
Yeah.
I do, I rely on him for. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, so you just drew it and more. Yeah, that's neat how things like that are setbacks can
Hmm.
be used in a big way. And then to help others and what they're going through and like that. Really is unfortunate that people say what they do, but I guess they just it can be instant.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that gives me the opportunity to help other people. And I just love that I'm able to do that because sometimes it's like hearing a recording of myself. I work with middle school age kids, and I can just, it's like a recording of myself. I hate my disability. I feel stupid, but I get to be that voice that gets to tell somebody, you're not stupid, your brain's wired differently. And I get to show them
Yeah,
how to advocate. And I can
yeah.
remember
Oh,
one of the most
wow.
memorable things of this past school year was I was put in a class, and they were doing math despite me telling them I
Mhm.
can't do this in a
Okay.
class. And I was really feeling defeated, and I looked up at the sky, and I said, God, why am I here? And all of a sudden somebody said, there's a student that's crying. And I got to go on eye level because he was
Okay.
frustrated, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got to tell him I know what it's like because I have a disability.
yeah,
And I said, I can't help you, but I want you to tell me when you need help so I can send somebody to help you out with that. And
yeah.
before I knew it, that kid wasn't crying anymore. He was starting to raise his hand in class. And by the end of the school year,
Mhm.
he was working independently and was confident.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I just heard that voice that just said, see, that's why I had you there. It wasn't to
Yeah,
teach him math, but it was to be there for that child that
yeah.
day.
And to support him and to give him the
Mm-hmm.
confidence that he needed. Yeah,
Yep.
that's so much powerful than putting someone down. I mean, that's not gonna help him anything,
Exactly.
but he needed the confidence that, hey, that he
Mm-hmm.
can do that
You
and
can
that
do
you
it.
understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you understood and it was, have been in a similar situation. That's wonderful. So what exactly is your role with these kids? I think I missed, what did you call
Sure.
the
I
role
am
that
a
you play?
paraprofessional, but or paraeducator, but it's a teaching assistant. So I'll
Oh,
go
okay.
in,
Okay.
and the teacher will teach the lesson, and I'll go in and help them reinforce some of the concepts. I get a chance to
Okay.
retest the students. I just get that
Oh,
chance to
wow.
help
So
them
you get
out, and
like
yeah,
to do one-on-one kind of.
I have done
What
one-on-one before too,
one-on-one
but
or
sometimes
just
I
helping
also
to.
do, yeah, but I've done small
Oh, wow.
groups, and
Yeah.
yeah, I've done a, yeah, wide variety of things. Never, no day is ever the same.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That is really, really neat. And that must really make you feel good. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Um, so can you share a bit more of your writing journey with us? Because so have like what all have you done for writing? Is there a book or book in the
Sure.
works or
Well, I do have, last summer I had 3 stories published in an anthology. I went to a
okay.
workshop. It was about rediscovering your purpose. And it was just, we had like some prompts. Some of them were fun prompts, like we wrote about our hair. Other ones were some more serious ones, like, oh, what's the most important lesson that you've ever learned? And we did one on what's your favorite place. And I had the chance to write about that. And that got published, and it's on Amazon.
Oh,
And
wow.
I also have had a lot of disability articles published. Eventually, I do want to write a book. I would love to
Okay.
write a children's one about dyscalculia, and I'd love to combine one about writing about the life cycle of called Chasing Butterflies and comparing the life cycle of a butterfly, which I love, to my process of accepting and my disability and the transformation that I've been through with it.
Oh, wow. So it'd be kind of like sharing your story
Yes,
and
exactly.
comparing it like in
Hmm.
with a butterfly. Oh, wow. Oh, that would be neat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so you're writing a lot of different articles and
Hmm.
okay. So
Yes, I am basically now a
yeah,
lot of
and then
different
your own
things. Uh-huh.
book.
Yep, and then yep, and then the blog and then the book I would like to in the future.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah. So what is like some of your kind of advice, some you have for others that have been in the similar situation as you? What do you really like to kind of pour into people?
What I'd love to pour into people is that success doesn't always come in the package that you often expect. Sometimes it comes in something even better. I can remember thinking a lot of times in my life, oh, I'll be successful if I get math, or if I can get this A, or if I can get this degree.
Hmm.
And sometimes that didn't happen for me, and sometimes it did. But I've learned that success has come in so many different packages. And it just sometimes it came in something even better. I can remember when I was really struggling, I had someone at church that said, "Well, did you pray about it?" And I'm like, "Well, I prayed
Hmm.
about it, but God had other plans." And it really turned out that God's plans are always better, bigger, and more
Hmm.
grand than anything I could have ever imagined. So I think that is also trusting in God for the purpose, and just
Hmm.
asking Him to reveal that. Like, I used to always wonder, well, what could come out of having a disability?
Hmm.
But little did I know that God was not only going to use it to help me, but it was going to be used to help other people as well. So I think it's asking about that and asking God to reveal his plan and his purpose for your life, and have faith in that.
Hmm.
And I also think I would tell somebody that's in that situation to focus on what you can do and what you can change. I find that when I focus on reading and writing and taking pictures, I'm a happier person. But when I focus on not being able to do math, and I focus
Hmm.
on just all the things in life that are just really hard for me, then I'm a really negative person. So I think that if you can just focus on those things in life that you are good at and you can change and you have some control over, then it's a lot happier with
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good. Great advice and
that.
really
Thank
makes
you.
sense. Yeah. So many of us, yeah, can focus on things that we can't do,
Hmm.
or seeing other people do and wish we could do that, but that's not going to help anything. We got to really learn um,
Right.
with what we've been given, and that's all that God expects is just utilizing what we have. And like, what do we have?
Yes.
What can we do, and grow in those areas? And yeah, like you said, it is really. your disabilities, what God's done has really helped you and others now in ways that
Yes.
it wouldn't have if it had been different as well. You know, someone that I really look up to, and Nick Vujicic. You know, I am the internationally speaker, born without arms and legs, and I think you know if
Mm-hmm.
his ministry is just so great that if he had been born what we would call normal, it, like what how could have he impacted people the way he is? Like it's just amazing that through him his story and what he's done and so just similar kind of what you said.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to a lot of that story. I'm not familiar with it, but I can relate to from what you've told me. With having a disability, I love my life how it is. I've learned how to be able to adapt and to be able to change. I love being able to read and to write and to also to be able to take pictures of flowers. And I've accepted that having my disability is just a part of my life, and there, it's not to say that there aren't some times where it does give me some difficulties, but a lot of those barriers aren't really created with the disability, they're created with society. And it's
Yeah.
just learning how
Okay.
to work around those.
Hmm.
And I just am so blessed and so grateful for the life God has given me.
Yes. Oh wow. That's good. That's the way we've got to be able to see it, just with that more
Hmm.
positive, positive mindset. And I know, like the
Yes.
story of Nick Vujicic, that's what he's done too. I know that you know if he's felt at a time that if he could change, like you know, it's like, well, he is praying that God could give him arms and legs, but if not, then he's you know he's good the way he is. His saying is no legs, no arms, no worries. So just
Yes.
making the most of it, and he can see that he's being an inspiration to people all over the world. So um, yeah, I really like that and how you
Hmm.
see that in yours too. So um, yeah, is there kind of any other last things that you would like to share? Or some things of your story that you haven't hit on that you think is significant to share to our
I
audience?
just I just want to encourage other people to just, I want to educate, I want to be able to empower and really encourage people that have disabilities or people who don't have them, just to be able to go out and to be able to do their best and to live the purpose that God has given them to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Really like that. That we all need to hear that. And yeah, just thank you so
Hmm.
much for sharing that. I know this
Yeah.
be an inspiration to others. Uh, so
Thank you so much for
yeah,
having me. It's
all
been a pleasure.
okay. Good, me too. So just all the best into all what you're doing. And if you have any you know, information you had your website and stuff, we can put that in the description.
Sure.
So you want to just
Yes.
invite them to that or yeah.
Yes, I could
We
definitely.
will.
I'll leave all that. I'm at Michelle's
Okay.
Mission, Mrs.
Okay.
Michelle's Mission.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, you take care.
Thanks, you too.
And
Bye bye.
a good rest of your day. Okay. Bye.
Yes, bye.